Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of Straight Up Show Podcast. I am your host, Calvin, joined by Brandon, Christina, and Lee. Brandon, how you guys doing today?
I'm good. As always.
Good. You said Brandon.
We could tell. I
said hi. I said, hey guys.
Look,
and then you said, Brandon, how you guys doing? That doesn't mean I need to answer. I'm not you guys.
Welcome to the Brandon and Friends podcast, everyone.
Oh, sorry. Hey. David Ruffin and the Temptations. I'm sorry. My bad. Lee, my bad. I didn't mean to exclude you. I did mean to exclude Christina. But Lee, how you doing today, sir?
So I just got caught in the crossfire, is what you're saying? Some friendly fire there.
Friendly fire, man.
I'm good, man. I'm living.
That's good to hear. So I'm so glad to have y'all. This is like our first official show as a unit this season.
You were right. Yeah. How have we managed that?
I mean, we're busy people. We do other projects. I mean, like this is a Straight Up Show podcast, but we stay busy, man. You know, we got personal lives, so we keep it real. Hey,
the schedule is real.
The schedule is real.
The schedule was I walked through the front door, threw everything down, and turned on the lights.
Yeah.
To be
and so
here. That's what it was.
Same here.
and with that being said, let me give my appreciation to y'all for working so hard and taking time out of y'all's busy schedules to join the podcast today. So that means a lot to me. I know we're not millionaires, but if I have enough, I would pay y'all a lot of money. But I don't have that. So the thank you would be good enough for y'all, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, so with that being said, you also can donate to our show. Easy plug. You can go to straightupshowpodcast.com. There is a donate button on there if you would like to donate to our show to help not only with the show, but maybe give back to the ones that actually voices you hear. I'm just kidding. You have to donate if you want to. Just donate your ears to our show. That's all we talk about. So this show today, actually, guys and girls, I'm sorry, Christina, is that we're gonna talk about basically just, you know, we always brag about, you know, us being authentic and being real with each other, but we always say this PSA within our show, right? Lee, if people don't like our show, we have an email that people can go to, and that email is for those people who can get all their hate mail. Lee, where can people send their hate mail about our podcast?
You know, I was just cleaning out the junk mail there. That email address is I don't care at gmail.com.
I don't care at gmail.com. Of course, we're kidding, but we say that as a joke to y'all, but we really mean it because it's like, you know, there are a lot of people who will give you hate mail, not just on this podcast, but in life, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure all y'all have some haters, right? I'm
still thinking like who they might be, because I just don't think about them.
Christina, you have your hand raised? You can go now.
Oh no, I'm a hater.
You're a hater. You're a hater of Brandon.
I'm a hater.
You know, I think Christina's one of my biggest haters all the time. She's always giving me issues. So I have a hater within my own dot because I don't have circles. I have dots. Bam. Lee, I'm pretty sure you have some haters too. Are you part of my dot? Yeah, you're part of my dot. Yeah, you're part of my dot. I mean,
you're not.
Yeah, because you don't have circles. You don't run with circles. You run with dots because you want to keep your circle that small. All right. Anyway, so yeah, Lee. Anyway, Dom said we all have haters, right? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you were getting profound there, and I was just kind of soaking it in.
Yeah, I was like,
but yeah,
I have circles, a dot.
Because a dot is a circle.
Not like when it really
I got a
hits
triangle.
You, yeah, it makes sense.
Point.
You know what? Y'all just like stole all my fire. But anyway, get back on track. We have a lot of haters in our life, and like I know, just a lot. My nephew came up to me the other day, and like he does online gaming, and you know I got on, and I think I was just like he just because when he comes to my house, like when I grew up, I would go to my aunt's house because she had cable, and my nephew, he's still kind of younger, so he doesn't have like online like video games just yet. So when he comes to my house, he can get online and play games. But so of course, if you all are gamers, you hear like all kind of language on these like online games because it's a community of different people. And you know, he just was never. And my sister, which I got permission from her to talk about this, is that she doesn't want him to be blinded from the world and what things go on in the world. And somebody uses the N-word or somebody uses a homophobic slur. She doesn't want to let him not see that stuff. I mean, it's because it's going to be, he's going to see it whether on TikTok or whatever. But so he asked me one day, he asked me, have I ever been bullied? And for our YouTube viewers that can see me physically, I am a very large person. Sometimes I embrace it. I try to work on myself, but sometimes it ain't easy. I got a weight problem. I can't wait to eat. So I got issues. So I work on my own issues. I got my personal demons that I battle, but at the same time, I still embrace who I am, which it came from a long way. But it started off my story basically of me being a heavy-set fat kid. Like I used to get teased all the time, and my nephew asked me about me being bullied, and I was like, you know what? Well, yeah, but not all the time. Not really bullied, but not thrown into a locker and had like chocolate milk shoved down my pants. So I don't know. I don't know how kids get bullied, but I've never been one of those guys to get like pushed into a locker type of bullying. It's more been bullied in a corporate setting. So I had to do a show about him asking me that because I'm like, well, I don't know how it is to be a kid right now with social media and like sadly there are some kids who cannot handle bullying to where they commit suicide. And there's somebody there that can say, hey, you know what? Love yourself no matter what. And that's kind of what we talk about today. It's like, love yourself no matter what. So we have a bunch of hate mail, people that hated on us. So we want to read some of our stories. And we talked to some of our friends on social media about some of their hate stories. So with that being said, welcome to our hate mail. We're going to air it all out today. This is going to be like a really kind of like a fluff, but really personal episode. So I'm going to start with maybe, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm gonna start with me, I guess. Because who wants to go first? Tell their hate stories. Brandon, Lee, Christina, who wants to go first? Of course, Christina's
I thought we were doing good right there with your story.
With my story? Okay, well, let's do it. I'm always the first person.
Let's do it. Well, let's hear Calvin's origin story.
Let's start with the obvious. I'm a fat person. Well, I was just telling Christina I had a body test done, and the body test told me that the doctor said that I have a high bone density or whatever that means. But I basically, in layman's terms, I'm naturally big boned. So somebody said, you're just fat. So you know what? I'm actually big boned, and I have the paperwork for it. Just saying. But no, with that being said, no, I've always been criticized as a fat kid. I got chubby cheeks and I got a pot belly, and yeah, I'm cute. I still look sexy. I know I look good. But anyway, but no, like I used to cry, man. My cousins used to, and these are a lot of embarrassing stories because we keep it real on the show, right? And so I can't believe I'm telling y'all this story. This is not scripted. This is all real. So, I used to, my grandma used to buy Whoppers after church all the time.
I can dig it.
And because the old Whoppers used to go hard.
Yeah.
But one day I was eating a Whopper and I was I live in the projects. So my grandma dropped us off in the projects and we went back, went home, got us some hamburgers. And to the ghetto, yeah. And I had my Whopper, and then my cousin Mickey, he sees the Whopper in my hands. He slaps it to the dirt. He says, that was like 4 or 5 or 6 years old. He says, man, you too fat to be eating that. And I was just like, I started crying. And so I used to cry a lot when I get called fat, like when I was 6 or 7 years old. But like at an early age, and this is my grandmother, Natty B, we called her. And she's like kind of like in the projects, we have like a projects grandmother. She was that grandmother, but my mom and dad actually got married and actually became my real grandmother. And but she used to say, come here, stop all that crying. And like this, I'm like, well, they call me fat. Yeah, you fat, but you my kind of fat. I'm like, okay, well, and like just you said people are always gonna laugh at you, so you gotta just I have no idea what it means, Christina. I just you know how people talk about old people talk about like those kind of I just don't know what it means. But
that was a big like mama thing to say.
It was like some handsome and Gretel type stuff. You know what I mean? Like and like, but no, she would always say, "Don't let these people make fun of you. Like, just be yourself." And like, you are who you are. And like, she didn't say it like that, but the feeling was there. I always say, you are who you are. And so we will always, I took that what she used to teach me about being a fat person and just like on who I am, and that's where I get my confidence from. And like some of y'all know, some of the girls I used to talk to, I mean, I'm not trying to brag, but like they wouldn't be the ideal girl that would be with a fat guy. But as we talked in our PJ and Kitty show that we had with them, like my confidence is there because confidence goes a long way. And that's kind of how I've been my whole life. So I would have guys in middle school and we would have one word like cracks on each other, like, and I would walk in the room, fat. And I'm like, dang. It was so mean. But it was funny. Of course, middle school kids are like, oh, yeah, he is fat. Ha, ha, ha. But I was like, you know what? You have a big nose. So I would say nose. And he was just shocked that this fat kid that was getting laughed at made a crack back at him. And he became the butt of the jokes. And it wasn't nice to do either or, but like that bond that I had is to step up to myself. We all became friends because that was our thing. Like we had fat, which is me, my friend he had a big nose. And then my other friend who was a star athlete had crooked teeth, messed up like grenade teeth. And we would call them teeth. And but it was a joke, but it was that way. Hey, you know what? They learned to say, hey, you know what? You can call me fat. I'm still going to be myself. And so that's kind of been one of my biggest issues is having hate mail. And that's pretty much one of my biggest criticisms and hates that I have my whole life has been, hey, look at me. This has even happened with jobs. Like, hey, you're fat and we won't hire you because you probably can't fit in a chair or you can't do this. And I'm like, dang, well, another point. I did get fired from a job. So I used to work as a salesman for a pest control company, and part of the job was doing inspections. And so I had to crawl under houses, and I'm like, well, dang, that's definitely something I can't do. But when you're a college student, you need that money. You're just gonna say I can do it. And so the guy was giving me challenges at the job, saying, hey, you may be too fat to do this. I'm like, well, so there was a house I had to crawl. The house was a guarantee like $3,000 for my commission for it. And I said, hey, well, ma'am, I'm a little big, but I can get under your house if I could dig a hole first and crawl under it, And so she said it was cool. And so my boss was shocked about it, but he fired me for that. So I'm just like, wow, I found a way to go around the system and they still fired me for it. So, my weight has been some issues, but it's me. It hasn't stopped me. Here we are today with this podcast. And, and kind of do a quick plug right now. You can hear us every Sunday night on WBOB radio station every Sunday night at WBOBradio.live, 5 p.m. Central Time every Sunday. So I'm just telling you now. But no.
Every Sunday.
But no, just we're here. And so I think one of my biggest hate that I've gotten is being a fat guy. So that's my hate mail. Now that's my part. Lee, Brandon, Christina. Let's tell us some of your hate stories.
Why me?
Because I'm pretty sure you have some hate stories. You're beautiful.
I'm quite sure. Look at you.
You have some haters.
I know for sure you had some in college, so for sure.
Wait, I don't know about college. I was like, wait, who hated me? I don't know. Mine it's a collection of different things, but I guess going off of how Calvin's story kind of was, I'll go with vanity point, being dark. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, you're not even that dark or yada, yada. I was like, but I guess growing up, I was one of the darker kids in my school, period. And I caught constantly from like elementary school up until about 11th grade, maybe, for being dark. And it was always just kind of how like Calvin was talking, you come into class and they call out something, whatever. Like I had nicknames from my family and people in school. It was always like darkness, especially once Dave Chappelle came out with the darkness. I was like, oh my God, they ate me up with that one. But it was bad, but I had to laugh about it too, because that was just hilarious at that point. But I was the other dark meat. Have been all kinds of nicknames. Like it's just like what? So I dealt with that the longest. And like even though you knew you weren't the darkest person, because some of the people were way darker than me, like pitch black, you know, like
Bernie Mac
Congo
black.
in the bush black.
Yeah.
Like they were
Precious
dark,
purple.
but
Golly.
they made so many jokes about it to the point that I, up until probably a year or so ago, still couldn't tell how dark I actually was. Like I had no clue. I could have been as black as a tire, or I could have just been as brown as Brandon. Who knows? Like buying makeup or something. They'd be like, "Oh, this is your color." I'm like, I have no clue. I have no clue if this matches me. Like you would look I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, I don't know if it's the lighting today or if it's what. I couldn't tell how dark I was. Even now, I'm just like, I'm looking a little browner than I thought I would today. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to have that issue.
Just in case.
Yeah, I used to have that issue too. Like when we used to have like the makeup part of it in news. I never could find my makeup, my powder color, because I was so black.
Yeah, it's hard. And then in well, for a lot of females, we go through a lot of hyperpigmentation, especially Black women, just all over your sometimes different shades. And if you aren't, the hell with y'all, like lucky people. But yeah, you go through these moments where you're like, okay, this is it. And then you're like, but what is this? And then you're paranoid because you're like, oh my God, my kidneys are failing because, you know, you see dark spots. At least I would. I'm dramatic. But it would be little things like that. Well, it wasn't little to me back then. So there is no story to it. It was just something that kept going and followed me all the way up until, you know, about midway through high school. And then it became a personality issue type thing that people have. That's a different story, a different day. But yeah, darkness, all the jokes about being super dark, and it just left me real paranoid and confused about how dark I might have actually been. But you know, I mean, eventually you're just like, hey, I can't change it. There is no real revitiligo. Okay, no, I looked it up. No. There is no bleaching going on here. Like, no. Like,
and that's so scary.
I'm dark, but my teeth are white.
Right. And
that was my thing. So.
I used to get that joke all the time. My white friends would be like, I can see Calvin in the dark. Just smile for me. I'm like, wow.
Oh, those jokes for sure would happen. Because, you know, I was always like, I wasn't the token in my groups, but I was one of them. I was definitely one of them. And my friends have always been guys. So just like even now, this is my life. Me and a group of guys. Always.
But like,
you know, they would make the jokes. They'd be like, Christina, open your eyes. I can't see you. I'm like, fuck you, bruh. It's not that dark out here. It's not that dark.
Right.
Then 8 o'clock, I'll be like, now I get it. But
we were always the token at our high school though, like because we were like the only black kids at our school though. So I mean, the ratio from black to white at our school was really, you know, really up there. So I guess like it was the token, but no, because like my grandma would say, "You're my kind of black," so I like it. You're beautiful.
No, my grandma was mean. My grandma put us out once because my sister's always been, well, the sister right above me has always been a little chubby. And I remember it was so hot that summer. She's from Jonesboro, Louisiana, so that's a little down there. It's tiny. And she called my sister a fat pig one time. She was just an old, mean grandma. You know, it came from like a very country mindset almost. Like, you know, it's just they knew girls were supposed to grow up looking a certain kind of way. They, you know, they weren't knocking burgers out of our hands or anything, but it would just be like, you're going to have to lose your weight at some point because you're going to have to meet somebody, and no man wants to be with a chubby girl or yada yada, or it's going to be a chubby guy who picks the chubby girl type thing. That's where she was coming from all the time.
Right.
So it wasn't like she was just straight up mean, but it was just how she was raised. And my mom has never been like that, but certain traces of it are in her too. She's just like, oh, you gotta do this. And I'm like, I'm 30. If he ain't here, I ain't worried.
Yeah.
She's definitely like, you don't know. But she called my sister a fat pig that summer, and I said something to her, and she put both of us out on the porch. We spent like 9 hours outside.
Wow. But like sometimes that tough love does really like, it can be there could be a pro and a con to it. Like my grandma used to like, even though she would say don't cry about being fat, she would definitely say, hey, you fat. And then like I'm gonna get my fat grandson to beat
But
your
I
butt,
am.
but like,
Golly.
yeah, I'm like, why you gotta put that whole like verb and adjective on it? Like, I mean, like just like there's like, call me your grandson, don't call me the fat grandson. And like, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know about you, privileged Pete, Brandon, and because we just determined that Brandon's really privileged for my cereal
Yeah,
episode.
like,
For my
not
cereal
that
episode.
privileged.
No, I was messing. But like no, so I'm pretty sure like in the old school grandmas that like they haven't seen you in a long time. And instead of when they first see you for the first time in a long time, like I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have said, they even say you hate you, say, oh, you surely got fat. Like and that's
Yeah.
their first word to you, like, man, you
Yeah.
should have you should have gained some weight.
I had an aunt do that last year. She was like, "You're getting a little plump over there, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure am." I was like, I've been living too good. Like,
Living too good, hitting that COVID-15.
traveling, good food. So it's like I've been living it up.
Carbs are the enemy. But no, but no, I hate to hear stuff like that to Christina, that people really talked about your complexion. And because me, I think, and I'm not just saying this because she's
Dude,
my
yeah.
friend, but she is beautiful.
Right. That's what
I
blows my
know.
mind.
I'm perfect, right?
I'm quite sure people is watching this video us now. It's like, yeah, I'll take that chocolate.
All
That
right,
that light
Jason.
that light is shining on all the right places. All, I don't
Like
know.
the forehead, that's what I
the
see.
forehead,
Like it's
shoulders,
just like woo.
Mhm.
And Lee, I don't know if you remember this, Lee, but like when we was doing the news together, like they would give us the makeup, and I can never find my makeup like that matched my complexion. So I would go on air like maybe 3 shades brighter brown because it was so messed up. I look horrible. Like it was bad.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
I think their makeup
called
selection
me.
as a whole wasn't that great because
Yeah, no.
I think they had me looking like super red for some reason. I don't know. The complexion was not great for anybody because I think they had like 2 shades each.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I was just like, and then we had to share it too. It was kind of weird now you think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Communal makeup isn't really a thing.
Yeah, if I knew at that time, but like you gotta wear it. And I was against it because I was like, man, I'm like, God, I'm not supposed to wear makeup. But if y'all don't know, a little TV magic, everybody that works in TV has to wear makeup. Why? Because it's a big bright camera and light in front of them, so their face won't be shining like my face is shining right now. So that's a
Yeah.
little TV kind of thing for you.
I have
So
nothing on other than my lipstick right now, so it's just like ping, ping, ping. That's all I see in my screen. It's just like grease,
More like glaze.
right. You are
glaze.
definitely
Oh, that could be dirty. No.
Yeah, it can be kind of dirty because you mean you're sweaty and stuff like that. But no, we love Christina, and I'm glad that you were able to tell some of your hate mail stories that people have given you. And I really, like I said, if in my opinion, I know we kidding around with Christina a lot, but if Straight Up had like a poster child or a figurehead, Christina is definitely, because you see us guys, but then like who is this beautiful woman that can like tear a house down, which she does all the time when she comes on the show because she's that great. And I always brag about you. Say, hey, you know what? She has one of the best sounds clips from the show's history, I think, about freedom. And that still to this day makes me cry hearing your response to that. So that's the kind of powerful, beautiful Black woman that Christina is. And here at the Straight Up Show podcast, we want to give you your flowers and uplift you, our beautiful Black queen.
Yeah.
If you see the
It
hair and
was-
everything, it totally works right now. She got
I
the
know.
paintings and the color, everything.
I know.
So, yeah.
Color.
And
So
that's
much
what
color.
and that's what we're doing on this episode. We're telling our stories, but what people think of us is not going to determine who we are. And for all those of us who believe that you are who you are, like it's our duty to uplift others who are not like that, and just kind of tell them, hey, give them the flowers while they're here and while they're not gone. Because if I die today, the ones who have never given my flowers right now say, oh, he was a great guy. If I was a great guy, tell me I'm great right now. You know what I mean?
I
And
would
we have
call
to.
all them out.
I mean, unless I would trust me. Trust me, I am. This is the Disney G-rated episode of me calling people out because I totally could, but I'm not petty like that. But no, I'm just saying. So with that being said, I want to go to our Facebook page right now because some people commented about hate mail, and this is coming from an artist in Louisiana, and she said that one person burned one of her pieces of art and posted it on social media and tried to spread the lies about how her art business is shady business. And I think that's kind of crazy though, sit there and be that petty and like post somebody's art that does, because some artists are actually working out here as commission only, and just to post you burning their art and post it online, it's kind of petty, right, Lee?
Yeah, man, that's messing with somebody's livelihood too. I mean, and I've always had an issue with any form of protest where you're going to buy a product and then burn it or something on camera. It's like, man, they got the money. What are you doing? Who is this for? But yeah, I mean, that's what they should take from this is, yeah, they still bought your product, so you got paid. Let them burn it, sell them some more. Let them keep burning it. Who cares? Get that cheddar.
Get that cheddar, yeah.
That's what Easy said. They bought them.
Yeah, they bought them.
I try not to cuss on the show.
Yeah, no, I wish you would cuss. Right? No, it's best. But no, yeah. So she actually responded saying that she just, let them do it. Like Lee said it. Like she just kind of said, "Hey, thank you for the publicity," but she just keeps carrying on. And so some people not as strong to actually rebound. And like, what were you say, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, she handled that well. Because let me tell you how you do that to the wrong person. Let me tell you how your name is about to get spread all around this town. You about to ruin your own face, your own name.
Yeah,
because that's serious, dude. That's like artists already got it tough, and now you trying to do that on social media.
Yeah, like they care a lot about what they create, and that's probably why the person, and one of the reasons they did it in the first place is because an artist puts a little of themselves in everything they create. It meant something to them. That's why they're so particular about their pricing, and there are some people who won't even sell their pieces to just whoever wants to buy it. They want to make sure that it's going to someone who can appreciate it at least for what it is, even if they don't understand it, just someone who has something to say about it. And to have them give you, regardless if you're paying for it, giving you something that they created and burning it is just, it's disrespectful.
That's a bullet shot.
I was like, yeah, that hurt. And because you're like, I could have found somebody else to pay for this that would have displayed it or at least liked it. You don't just, that's a spit in the face, like. So I would have been right there with Brandon, like, let me tell y'all what this person just did. If you want to buy it, don't treat it this way. Like, because we don't have words. I can give you words and still keep the money too. So I mean,
right. I like how we all
petty.
Yeah, I like how we all have like split answers on that about how we were responded. That's crazy. But we're gonna have more about our hate mail stories coming up next on the other side of the break. Make sure you stay tuned. This is the Straight Up Show podcast. Stay tuned. Hey, Calvin here, host of the Straight Up Show podcast. And guess what? We're back bigger and better than ever with new guests, new straight up topics, and a new way to support the Straight Up Show podcast. That's right. You can now support our podcast by becoming a Patreon patron. Straight Up has 4 different tiers that you can choose from, with each tier having their own perks. Your monthly donation helps us produce efficient Straight Up content that you love so much. For more details, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Straight Up Show podcast 318. That's patreon.com/Straight Up Show podcast 318.
So far, our season finales have always been about celebrating Straight Up hitting a milestone. But this year, we're celebrating with you. This year, we want to celebrate with you by answering any questions you may have about the Straight Up crew, show, or just general questions. I would like to say anything goes, but who knows? You've probably heard worse on our show anyway. Send us your questions by emailing us at straightupshow@gmail.com or by messaging us on social media, Instagram if you need a preference, or our website. Links will be in the description, and yes, we do accept video messages.
You've got mail.
All right, we're back with the Straight Up Show podcast, and this is our hate mail episode. Like I said, we have merchandise about hate mail. Some people call in and say our show is wiggity whack or whatever you want to call our show, but we are authentic to ourselves because we are STR8 UP. So with that being said, we're telling our straight up stories, and we had Christine talk about her skin complexion, about her being darker skin complexion but beautiful at the same time, and me being fat but I have a nice voice and I look good. All right,
why do you look like that when you
So-
did that?
I know. That's why I had to back up. Like, what is this? Like, why?
I can see the little twinkle in your eye when you did that.
That's just allergies, man. I'm sorry. but no, so we're talking about our hate mail stories. And like before we go on to Lee and Brandon, like is it me or does it seems like the more hate is being displayed on Facebook, not specifically in news websites like local TV websites comment sections. Like the hate displayed on there is strong.
Yeah, people have opinions on any little thing. Like any news story can be immediately politicized. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, with the even just the local news, but you know, that's another reason why I just don't look into it. They say so much stuff that don't make sense, and I'm like, you know what? This is why I don't get on Facebook, because I really don't care about these people's opinion.
And it's brutal, man. Like if anybody out there, and this is not even being like political or this is not being left or right, but if anybody think that racism doesn't exist, go to your local news station's Facebook comment section and look for a story about Palestine or about President Trump or Biden, and you would see the most racist, hateful comments from mostly by trolls, but especially where we're from Louisiana. So you'll see some hateful stuff. And let me tell you that Jim Crow era is heavy and live on those comment sections. It's kind of almost embarrassing almost.
It is embarrassing. You know what? Another reason why I hate social media is because people read this crap and they run with it. They don't do no type of research themselves. They see a clip, don't look for the original clip. They just see that thing and just run with it. And I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah, and that's a topic for another day because it's just like some stuff I'm like, wow, I just cannot. First off, that's our fault because we give our parents social media.
Yeah. I saw that decline.
It's a little bit heartbreaking too. Yeah.
It is heartbreaking, but it's still like I feel like we have to take some blame in this because, you know, when we first had Facebook, I was mad because I couldn't get on it because I wasn't in college yet. And so it's just like now that our parents got it, like my uncle, right now he has like 13 different Facebook accounts because he can't remember his password. And it's just like, yeah, I think I take blame in this, man, because I gave him his first Facebook and, you know, but it's that old person's mentality that's displayed because they just don't know how things are. And so we say this.
They're also not used to being wrong about things.
True. And this mostly will first air during Pride Month. And so I think that we can safely transition into this to Lee, who is part of the LGBTQ community. I'm sorry, plus, add that on as well. But like, I think now that that the LGBT community, you know what, Lee, I'm sorry. The LGBTQ plus community, I said it right, is being more accepted now. And even with that being said, that's even having some backlash, right?
Oh yeah, man. I got a story to tell you. I actually got two. I'll start with this one first, real quick. So not too long ago, I was working at a hotel. I was a night auditor. So I would toward the end of my shift, they're running breakfast in the morning. And, you know, I'm like right there in the lobby. So people are just coming to stop and chat or whatever while they're, you know, grabbing their muffins and what have you. But this one dude comes up and asks me to buy a stamp because we sold stamps at the front desk. It's a thing hotels do, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I didn't learn that until I started working at one. Crazy, right? But now he has to buy a stamp. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm processing that. And as I'm doing that, we have a stack of USA Today newspapers that are sitting out of the front desk that people could just take. And he's looking at it. And one of the headlines is, this is shortly before they passed the gay marriage law where it became legal in all 50 states. And so they were like deliberating about that back and forth. So that was, one of the headlines. And the dude just kind of like scoffs and goes, gay marriage. And then he looks at me and says, bisexuality is a mental disorder, right? And I have no reaction to this because I don't know how to react to this, because I'm like, I'm suddenly in this conversation now that I want to know part of. but we're here now. And he recognizes that I don't really say anything, and he keeps going. Somehow he makes the decision to continue going, and he's like, well, look, if these men want to have sex with each other so much or whatever, they can just go masturbate behind a barn.
Like, there's a story behind that.
They can go masturbate behind a barn.
He's got a few
Like
barnyard
Christina
stories
said,
of his own.
there is a
He's
story
got a few barnyard stories to tell. I was like, he's like, damn it, I had those things too, but we got it out of the way. I was like, there's a story.
You just knock it out behind the barn. That's what you do.
Like,
I have no words. I
me
have
and Pete been doing this, like what?
Wow.
But I do not understand that about the older generation in particular, of like, why do you want to go up to a random stranger and just like expunge your political beliefs? Like, do you just assume everyone just agrees with you? Because I don't know. People are in their own little like bubbles, I guess, but
he saw something in your face, I guess, that was like, surely he'll agree with this. And
yeah,
I
have that homophobe look to
like,
me,
right? He's like, right? Like, why are you agreeing with me?
For the people that sees a lot of Lee's pictures, he was very groomed back then. He didn't have like all that beard. So he probably thought you was a very fine young man.
I was working at a
fine young gent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was working at a not high-end hotel, but one with, standards, I guess. So I had to be clean shaven if I wanted to keep my job.
Yeah.
And it took me a year or two after leaving that, like, oh, I can grow my hair out again.
I've been there.
It's been a ride ever since.
That was me getting out of the military. I was like, I get to be colorful again. Yeah.
No pun intended.
Because I always had to have my hair pulled back, so I couldn't do braids. I couldn't do a lot of different stuff. And now I'm like, ooh, I get to be colorful again, like high school. It's a good time.
I've always wondered how that was for military people. But no, just to kind of go piggyback right quick off of what Lee said, like, it's kind of like what Chappelle said, like, if you have hate in your heart, let it out. It's like,
let's go behind the barn and let it out.
Yeah, and I've actually been very vocal about like my past homophobia that I had. And not really, I don't hate anybody. Because I never understood the LGBT community. Hell, I can't even say it right. But it was Lee that actually helped me, like, I guess, transition to accepting all people. Because, even with me with the Asian, like, I want people to come on the show and actually grow. And we all have these thoughts in our heads about certain things and certain people. But Lee was one of my friends. I worked really close to him. Then. Which, by the way, before we got any further, they really screwed you up with the whole marriage thing, by the way. You had to move to go to Colorado. My bad, sorry.
Yeah, so me and my now husband, we went and eloped in Colorado because at the time that was the closest place that gay marriage was legal. And then like 6 months later, they passed it nationwide. So we got a nice vacation out of it. So I'm not complaining.
Right. You did it in such a beautiful state,
Yeah,
mountains and all
at least you got to go to Colorado.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous out there.
But it was still funny. I'm like, oh man, I would have been mad. But anyway, no, it was with his marriage that's when we found out that he was gay. Because at that time, none of us knew he was gay because, and I talk about I didn't know how to identify somebody as gay because, I mean, there's, you just have this weird homophobic or ignorance in your head So Lee, like I said, Lee was well groomed, and wore a suit on TV. Just you would never think it, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, what are you doing this weekend, guys? Well, I'm getting married this weekend. I'm like, well, she's a lucky lady. Well, no, he would be a lucky man, and like, I said, oh, you're marrying a man. You know what? That's all right. And like, so, and like, cause I was like that guy at the hotel. I'm like, man, they over here, and man, us black people got it way worse than them. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I was one of those guys before, but like, here I am working side by side with somebody who is this awesome person that got my back no matter what. Even till this day, Lee bails me out of so much trouble. Like, and it didn't, him being gay and marrying a man, it didn't affect me. It didn't, he's happy. And so it made me happy to see him happy. So I'm like, you know what? This is all right.
me reading Lee's old Facebook about me didn't even affect me. And that was true right there. I don't know.
Oh, I was so edgy back then.
I don't know if you remember what you wrote back then, but that's when I first realized. I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, I did not know. Do you remember that? You look, matter of fact, Lee, when we have the other episode about Pride Month, you should find that and just go for it.
I mean,
I want to know. I was like, I don't know this. That's why I started twiddling. I was like,
if I'm not mistaken, that about me that you're referencing was also on my MySpace page. I just carried it over from that to Facebook. And you're gonna have to bleep this out. I'm sorry, Calvin, but if I'm not mistaken, it started with "I'm gay, I love," right?
Yeah, and it went on. I know it was longer than that, but it was definitely like that. I was like, wait a minute, what? It was like, yes, this is me. Accept it.
That was such
okay.
That was such a unique period on the internet for me in particular, because I was like just coming, like I was like a little baby gay then. I was just coming out, just kind of like discovering myself, and it was like, I'm gonna be like as hardcore edgy as I could be, just like swearing left and right, just saying whatever was on my mind, no filter whatsoever. And
you were trying to be sassy.
Yeah, and cut to now, and it's like, no, I'm trying to get a job, so I should probably watch what I say.
Yeah, somebody's gonna find this in like 2 years.
Yeah, let me not get canceled.
Oh man, so I am crying right now.
Screenshot of that, but
I am crying right now.
You're like, all I remember, because y'all were all closer back then. Y'all would hang out and everything, and I ran away from campus as fast as I could every day. So I remember all I saw was the post he made on Facebook about getting married, and I was like, we got married? And I was like, all right then. I had no clue. Okay, he's passable, but
it was real love too. So I mean, like, we don't know your husband personally, but we just know how much he loves you. So that's what we care about.
Duke is awesome.
What? Really?
How's he doing?
Really? He's going to name drop like that?
Has Lee never said his name before?
I'm pretty sure he has, but I'm like, we should just respect. I don't know.
I was like, he just said it, didn't he? Yeah.
No, Brandon said it. I'm just like, okay, well, that's all.
No, you said Duke earlier, right?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, you said it. You said his name.
I'm sure I've name checked him on some podcast somewhere, right?
Well, if you don't know, Lee is married to Duke. So
yeah.
Let's break the ice right there.
My husband's name is Duke. That mystery has finally been revealed. In case you were dying to know.
Well, I am glad that you were with your sexuality. Or I'm not saying right. If I'm being inappropriate, let me know. But with your sexuality, I'm glad that you were able to like teach other people. And like I said, most likely this episode will air during Pride Month. So that's kind of what I think Pride Month means, is to accept yourself, to be proud of who you are. And so like, and even with that, Lee, it's just like, man, to hear you go through all this, and Lee, and we're dropping Duke like this. Lee lives in the wrong part of Louisiana, so like, like the truth, like the wrong part of Louisiana, like turn back the other way, Louisiana.
Yeah, a couple of y'all been out this way. Y'all know.
Yeah,
I know.
I went to your place once, way out when. Can you still hear me? My headset.
Yeah.
Broken. Okay, cool. I went out there once for one of your projects or something, and I think you moved since then, and that was far enough.
Yeah.
That was distance right there. And I was like, I'm gonna die.
Let's just say
I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm out here alone. I'm gonna die.
Let's just say that they don't say sir out there to us. They say boy. So let's just put it.
Like I'm gonna get gas.
There is definitely a spike in Confederate flags you'll see outside as you approach my house. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of Facebook trolls live in your city, I bet.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. But no, so like Lee's telling us his hate mail story, but you got another one, Lee?
Yeah, I do actually. And this one circles back to it seems like we all have a story based on our appearance, which I guess that's just a common, that's the first thing people notice about you. So that's, if they're insecure about their own crap, that's what they're going to pick up on, I guess. But back before I worked at the hotel, I was doing a more different customer service thing by working retail in a famous video game store that I won't name for reasons. But it was okay. It was an okay job. It had its moments. But at the time, I wasn't actually out yet, but I was hardcore goth. So I had shoulder length, black dyed hair. Like all my clothing was black.
Was it like My Chemical Romance goth or like Ask It Alexandria goth?
Wow, I'm a poser. I'm not familiar with the latter.
Wow. How is this? I know this. They don't. This giant black guy knows Gothmans, but Lee doesn't.
I was gonna say, but then my little in between ass was like, those were emos and goth. I wouldn't classify them as.
I shopped exclusively at Hot Topic for like 5 years. It was a problem.
You wore trip jeans.
What's that?
You wore the trip pants.
I did. I owned like a few pair of those.
The chain on it and stuff.
Yeah. Do you know why I stopped wearing those? Because the pair I had that had the chains all running down to the side kept getting caught on crap and eventually just broke off. But to continue my story, I was working in retail at the time, just full gothed out, but with like business casual goth, I guess you could say. I had like a black polo shirt instead, I suppose. But no, like long black hair. However, I hadn't dyed my roots in a while. So like it was like blonde up to, like the half point of my head and then black the rest of the way down. And at the time I still had like the full red beard. Like it was about as thick as it gets. So anyways, this like family of, I think 5 come in, man, wife, and their 3 kids or whatever. And they're shopping or whatever, and finally come and check out. And as the guy's like giving me his money or whatever, he just kind of looks at me and says, "You are aware you look like a freak, right?"
What?
No.
Oh boy.
And once again, I have literally no reaction, because how do you react to that? I'm literally dumbfounded. I literally respond with just okay, and he's just okay, and he takes his money and starts walking out, and he's like, "Okay, say bye to the freak kids," and I think one of the kids even says, "Bye, freak." And like honestly, more than anything, I feel bad for that guy's kids, because I can't imagine that's a fun household to live in, right?
Oh,
they're gonna get beat up one day.
I I don't know why.
Well-
It's just I'm not surprised by that story for some reason.
I mean,
disclaimer:
I mean, I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised.
Well, the whole thing, the fact that it was a customer alone tells you it was going to be bad.
oh yeah, no doubt.
That alone, like there was a customer, like, oh, it's about to be really rude.
Yeah. Retail is no joke.
Yes, I did all of 2 weeks of it.
Yeah, I feel like instead of the service, we need to put people into like 5 weeks of retail when they turn 18 or whatever, so they can develop some empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You should have to wait tables.
Yes.
And I was going to say this for like the next part of the show, but it really makes me mad as an adult. We really could not say how we really feel and keep our jobs.
Seriously,
I hate that.
That is still a problem to this day.
That is, if I can say you, or you know what I mean, like yeah. But if I could just say like you and kiss my, I would, but I can't.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why they come in and they do it, because they know they can make you the punching bag, and unless you're okay with losing your job, you're gonna just take it. And that's why they always have that appalled look on their face when you do say something back, like, I don't give a damn about this job. I'm a good ass kid. You know, like, I want your manager, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to get her, so.
And Christina said we should beat the kids up. Those kids up, they're gonna get beat up. We don't condone violence or kids getting beat up in school. That's what the whole episode's about, Christina. So, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But no, what, Brandon?
I'm just saying, some kids needs to get their butt whooped, and I say some kids need to get their butt whooped. I'm just saying, some do.
So some kids just need to have attention paid to them that's not getting paid to them, and I see that more and more these days.
Yeah, let's chop it up to that. Y'all are
Sorry.
just.
Did I freak?
Some kids needs to have their, not adult do it, but another kid needs to possibly slam another kid's head into a wall. Just saying.
Okay, it's not.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's be real then. Let's be real then. If
Not
we're gonna go here,
bullying if you're correcting improper actions. That's
Right.
all I'm saying.
like
It's
yeah.
just controlling the peers.
And okay, so one of the things, let's go there since we're going there then. So like grow up in the projects. Like if I didn't okay. So the way it was where I grew up is that if you can, because somebody used to call me fat all the time, and I would just brush it off. But you know, my dad was like, I didn't raise no punk, you know, whatever. And so so this guy just kept messing with me, calling me fat, and I was just brushing it off. My dad said he's gonna keep doing it until you like whoop his ass. And me, like anybody knows, I don't like fighting. Have you seen how big my hands are? Like I don't like hitting people or punching people because I mean I got a one hitter quitter and you knocked out. And so my dad was like, you know what? Either you go whip his ass or I'm gonna whip your ass. And so like I was like, well, my dad was cut up and muscular, so I've had those ass whippings. So I said, you know what? I took my shoes off, like ran after him. He's because of course when you go run up on somebody, they don't want to fight because they're scared. But then I had to fight him, and like I beat him up and we had a fight, and it got really bad over there because shooting happened afterwards. But like maybe a year later, he was real cool with me, and all it took was me just to beat his ass, and we became good friends after that. And that's kind of how a lot of my friendships started where I grew up at, is that I had to fight a lot of people because they want to test you. It's like they want to see how, and it shouldn't be that way. And I don't not condone violence, but sometimes you got to show them what's up. Like, hey, come get these hands, and once you get them hands, and then you got a friend. Get these hands.
Prison rules.
Yeah. And that's why I want to say that.
It really is, because I can't tell you how many people go in from elementary, middle school, high school, I became friends with, but they were at first like some form of bully first. Yeah. Like it's crazy. And that goes back to like that whole hate thing. In some form they notice you, but I don't know if they don't know how to approach you, or like I don't know what it is. But
well,
like,
especially when you're a kid, you haven't developed all those like bonding experiences and, you know, emotional pathways that those proper communication and speech patterns that like actually develop relationships with people, you're just kind of flying blind.
Right.
And you're tossed into like a public school or whatever with a whole bunch of other kids who are also flying blind. So you're all kind of like gelling together in weird ways.
Then, especially when you get to high school, your testosterone starts amping
Yes.
up, and it's just like, man, I'm just raging out for no reason at all. I'm just angry. Man, sorry, that's my imitation of me being a 15. I ain't gonna lie, me at 15, like, I also did steroids too, you know. But me at 15, I was just like raging out, man. I was just like, wow. But so that's our kind of, sorry to segue off all that stuff, y'all. I just kind of had to address it right there and there. But so that was Lee's 2 stories about his hate mail and some things that he had to open up and get out and read in his life. So we head to the troublemaker of the show. I say because if this is our last tournament episode, Brandon wrecked havoc on our show. But Brandon, you know, you know,
good.
we would think looking at you because you are in shape, you're a handsome fella. You shouldn't have that much hate mail, right? Or no?
I'm glad you said those 2 words because those were the biggest issues.
You were handsome.
Well, see, uh, from elementary all the way to my freshman year in high school, I had issues with bullies because of one, for some odd reason, everybody thought I looked like Steve Urkel because I guess my parents were just a little bit too high, which I still don't understand. Still don't understand that. Some girl said, you know, even with the way my pants was, my butt stuck out. I don't know, and I guess it just made it look like my pants was too high. But yeah, just the looks and me, you know, also being skinny. But even I had female bullies at one point, and it got to a point to where, like, you know, my background in martial arts, I would want to do things that is like it's a discipline thing. So it's like, you know, people push whatever, you know, it's whatever. I'm fine. But sometimes it did break me. And it's like every time it broke me, part of me was like, I don't care anymore. Like, people that know me now, they know Brennan really don't care about a lot of things. And it's because I just really had to stop. So, I mean, like I said, a lot of bullies that end up being friends. Yeah, in some form of fashion, I had to show them, like, dude, I'm not taking your crap anymore. Like, I'm just not. I remember in probably maybe 6th, 7th grade. Oh, dude, I tore up a whole classroom before.
Out of anger or
out of anger, because it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you can do something, but you met my dad before. My dad wasn't, you beat their butt. My dad was like, I ain't raised no, you know, gangster, whatever. Like, you don't fight in school, you know. So I had a few, but I got in trouble for one fight. It wasn't even a real fight. And, like, I mean, that was on my record, and that kept me from transferring to schools. But yeah, dude, a whole classroom before, like, threw desks everywhere. And I just had, people talk about bullying, and it's like, once again, sometimes you do have to do some things. Sometimes you legit have to do something. So, like, you know, and now it's like, out of high school, college was like a flip for me. College was like, I'm not, like, all that stuff ends. So, like, you know, that's Christina got a piece of that because I got friends though too many times in high school. because I wasn't like that whole, the jock or whatever. So Christina was like, I like Christina. Every time I see Christina, she about to know. She can attest to that. She can attest to that.
So
but,
because
I use Brandon so many times as a reason to run away from that dude. I won't name him just in case.
Yeah, but that was
I'm like, please don't leave me.
right. And that's another thing is people who look at some skinny people and like, oh, he's weak, but I don't think people actually know how muscle works. So like it would be even sometimes in the gym, it's like people see me do certain things and they don't know, like a normal person wouldn't be able to do that, what even Lee called my magic tricks with calisthenics, but
Magic
trick. Yeah, the zero gravity
you can
pull-up
look at Brandon
stuff.
and tell he's not just skinny, because people who are skinny are just skinny. I was like, Brandon, like even in your forearm, it's tight in your forearm.
Right.
It's not
like
it's not soft. So there's lean muscle here. Like he's not just skinny. Just like just because they're skinny doesn't mean that they're not fat. They're just skinny fat.
And some buff dudes just have like a little out. It's just coming out. They don't have much.
Total random question. So, as a resident fat guy, do you ever? I know I do, but do you, as a skinny guy, do you ever wish you had fat people problems? Because I wish I had skinny people problems all the time. Like, I wish I could be skinny. I could wear any shirt I want to. Or is it just me?
I mean, I think that goes both ways. And I'm trying to see how I can say this.
No, Brandon, I'm easily like 5 of you. Well, I don't know.
5?
No.
Probably
I'm 3.
2 or 3. 2 or 3, maybe.
2.5?
2.5, yeah.
I'm just saying. I just didn't know if skinny people had the same, like, I sure wish I could just, be skinny like him. Or does that work both ways or no?
Skinny people have issues, dude. You know how many times sometimes I wake up like just starving and it's like hungry, probably because my metabolism has like just eaten so much. Like people with high metabolism have an issue because when you no longer have fat to burn, that it goes eating up your muscle. Like, you remember those years I was really skinny because I wasn't eating. So, but yeah, it was.
I called him a metabolizer.
Yeah, like
that was what I called him. His wife for metabolizer.
Dude, it's tough. Yeah, that's
people
don't eat like she should. I mean, that just hurt. But yeah, dude, like it was. I wouldn't say it was tough, and from elementary to, and I say after freshman year, I had contacts. So the whole nerdy thing kind of left me afterwards, and they stopped calling me Steve Urkel so much, and I became like Stefan or whatever his name is. But
Arkell,
yeah, whatever his name. I didn't watch that show because I was like, that show ruined my life. So I did not watch Family Matters for real. But it's crazy now because all those people that did that, nowhere, like they're not where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, one of the guys that called me he used to get me the worst. Like, I hated the guy in school. Like, he was mean for no reason. Like, of course there was jokes and stuff. He was mean. He would find me to say something mean to me, and we always had classes together. I mean, from like 5th grade to my junior year of high school, when I finally had to go to another school. I actually ran into him a couple weeks ago, and he recognized me with my mask on and everything, and he called me by my name and everything. I turned around and I was like, nope. He was like, like that. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna say his name or anything, but I was like, you were mean as hell in school. Like, that's all I can say. He was like, don't be like. I was like, no, I need you to get far away from me right now.
Yeah,
that's weird how they come back and they're like, we're just kidding. I'm like, no,
you not just kidding. Caused me emotional trauma.
He saw them thighs. That's what happened.
Whoa.
body image issues, man. I don't know how dark I am,
Yeah.
Mr. Fox.
But that's
I told you I'm a little petty. I ain't gonna say your
and it's crazy because, like, you know, it's amazing to hear all these stories, and just I hate that all of us had to go through these things, but this is our hate mail. This is who we are, and this is things that we've been through. We're gonna have a little bit more. We're gonna talk a little bit more about how to overcome. How do we resend and reply to our hate mail? Stay tuned.
Tired of the same old boring clothes? Want to support your favorite podcast but don't know how? Well, you're in luck. The Straight Up Show podcast store is finally here. In our Teespring shop, you can find all the merch that tells the world you're keeping it straight up. From t-shirts to masks to even leggings, our store has you covered. Just visit straightupshowpodcast.com and click that merchandise button. That's STR8 Up Showpodcast.com.
You've got mail.
Welcome back to the Straight Up Show podcast, and today we're talking about our hate mail. I mean, we've had some phenomenal stories, and I'm pretty sure we have lots and lots of stories. But of course, I'm joined by Brandon, Christina, and Lee. And the things that y'all have been saying has been so I didn't know about some of y'all, which is brand new to me. When it's like this is very organic. But I think that from hearing y'all stories and my stories, we face these things as adolescents and children, and but it's so funny because whether it's Christina's dark complexion or Brandon's skinniness and being himself, or quote unquote nerdy, or Lee being gay, it's 2021, and all these things that really really affected us growing up and back in the day, it's now popular now. So it's like the norm. So it's normal to be accepted as, well, I don't know about me as a big person, but but you know, but I said I still do pretty good. Brandon, you know how it works. You know, anyway, yeah, but you know, but like it's 2021 and these things are becoming more accepted. And it's like, and I think this generation, our generation, you know, we're pioneers of being these people who, like, no matter what people have said to us, we still became who we want to be. We still are ourselves. You know, Lee, I couldn't imagine, you know, the things you've been through and what you've heard outside of the two stories you told us, but to have the courage to sit there among the haters to say, you know what, this person loves me and he just so happens to be a guy. I'm going to give my life to him and marry him.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just living my life. That's the thing. That's what really hit me about, I mean, both of the stories I told. It was just like, man, I'm just trying to pay for my food for the week. Why you got to bring this negativity to me? But I mean, that's, you know, anyone that's worked a public facing job has some kind of story like this, and that's just life. But for me, like, honestly, after these events happened, the people involved, they stopped being people and they became stories. Like, I mean, yeah, the stories I'm telling now, but like, yeah, the very next day, like, I got together with my friends. I told them that story. We laughed our butts off, you know? And that's just life. It's taking the bad and trying your best to adapt into something good.
Like I said, and I called you courageous because, like I said, you know, you didn't let. I mean, because we all have our bad days, of course. I mean, I'm fat, you know, and I don't want to be fat forever. I mean, I like y'all said earlier. I mean, I'm probably just prone to be fat or big. Sorry. So I mean, I have my battles too with my overweightness, you know, because you know, health issues and stuff like that. But so I see myself wanting to do better every day. But Lee, I want to go around the room and ask, you know, all y'all kind of just those who are not as courageous as you, being with a gay man, or you hearing all this, just basically, you know, homophobic, you know, rant from people you don't even know. Like, what would be your advice to those who are not as courageous, or who have maybe gone through the same thing you've been through, but don't know how to handle it? What would be your reply to that hate mail to them?
Well, I mean, one thing you'll definitely notice in both of those stories is I didn't react to those people at all. And I think that's the best thing you could do, honestly, because more often than not, that's what they're looking for. They want engagement. They want that reaction. They want to be able to exert their power over you, and shut them down. They don't have power over you. Just, just diffuse. And if you have to have that like panic attack, out of body experience, just turn your brain off while this is happening. That is okay. That is a normal thing to do, and you're going to power through it. And with any luck, you'll have a fun story to tell your friends later.
Yeah. Wow. And thank you for that, Lee. That's really, man. Lee's such a good spirit, man. He's just a good guy. Thank you so much for telling us about your hate mail and the things that you've been through. And give us those words of encouragement. Brandon, you're a skinny guy, very funny guy. I just, like I said, sometimes I just wouldn't believe the things that you've been through, because I know you from when, from college, and you said that you were different from college to high school. So what would be your advice to, like, I guess, the people who are being themselves, or nerdy, or I guess skinny, and like, what would be your advice to them? Like, how would you reply back to their haters' hate mail?
Just to be honest, just keep being you. I mean, I say the stuff about fighting back, but unless I'm very much like the let them hit first. But if you fight, there's gonna be consequences. So, because I mean, I wanted to leave my school and I couldn't go to where my friends go to another school because of a fight I had I think in like elementary or something like. So that little record that they keep, whatever. What the hell was that thing anyway? Put it on your record. But like, nah, just legit be yourself. Because I can't tell you how I had too many times I wish I would have just been myself and found the group that would have supported me early on. I mean, I had friends, but if I didn't have those friends from being myself, things would have been harder. Like, things would have been harder. Like, I had friends that saw certain things and almost jumped in, but like they knew like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's deep. All right, so next up we have the beautiful, vivacious.
Vivacious.
I don't know. V-I. Acious.
That's why I'm single, y'all. That's why I'm single, because I say that.
And can we just give Brandon, you just commend Brandon, like, just out of the one person that cusses the most on this show, Brandon has not said one single cuss word this whole episode, and yet all three of us have cussed on this episode. So kudos to Brandon, right? Great, quick. But
my bad.
I know, Christina, you didn't last 4 minutes. But no, going back to Brandon, Christina, I'm sorry. Very beautiful. Like I call her our Black Queen because she is so beautiful, and like even though that she and I always joke around with each other, like there's a love for each other. But I really look up to her. Especially I respect the military too. But anybody that can risk their life to help other people, I respect that. But besides that, she's beautiful. I know you personally, what you do, sacrifices you made, not only for this country, but for your family as well, and for the show too. So with that being said, like those people who criticize you about your skin color, your complexion, and don't see the beautiful smile that we see, like those beautiful Black women who are self-conscious about their skin complexion, to their haters, what would you reply back to them and giving their haters encouragement and them encouragement to stop being haters?
There is nothing that you can say to a person that would insult a person's skin color or something. Like there is no encouragement or anything other than do better, grow up a little bit, get a little more mature, because there's no stories behind it when it comes to something as simple as that. It's just me. You're just doing it because your skin's a little different than theirs. So rather than speaking to them directly like that, I'm just going to say in general, regardless of how long it takes you and what you have to figure out to do it, like makeup or whatever it takes, changing your hair, whatever, do whatever it takes to make you embrace your skin tone, because it's pretty. Like, it, no matter how you feel about it, you can be pale, you can have rosacea, you can be dark, like Sudanese dark or whatever, you know, it's all gorgeous skin. I was like, because your skin is just like, it's your skin, it's all you got, you know,
Black
you
don't
don't want
crack.
anything to happen to it. So take care of it, be kind to it, moisturize it, show it, do whatever you need to do about it. You know, it's yours, so just treat it well. It's the biggest organ in the whole body. Like, that's yours, you know. There's nothing else to be said about it, you know. Just exactly, you know, like, you know, this Jergens, man. But Jergens cocoa but like, there is nothing that I personally can think to say other than try your best to ignore if people are doing something or saying something that's making you feel insecure, because just like trends, as you were saying, everybody's in, everything becomes popular at some point. You know, a few years ago, everybody wanted red bones or whatever, and then the next year they want dark skinned girls, and then they want this, they want that guy. It's just, people don't know what they want. They don't know what they consider to be beautiful yet. So just keep up with yourself as best you can. Even if you can't, it's fine. Like, your skin is just your skin. It's just skin.
She's right. Going back to what she said, she's right though, because like even now, like watching Little Kim and Sammy Sosa like change their skin complexion because they don't want to be dark, and like the world sees dark as bad, you know, and I don't like that. Our dark skin is bad, and that's the biggest problem. Like there was like a meme going around of like Kylie Jenner, she's 19, but she's like 3 baby dad, whatever you want to call it, and we don't judge her, but it's just like they compared it to a 19-year-old astronaut who's changing the world. She's 19 and an astronaut, and she's set to become the first person to travel to Mars. And it's like we pick and choose, like you said, pick and choose what's trendy and what to follow. And like years ago, you would never think that, you know, I think they said on Blackish that watch out, Orange, because nerd is the new black. You know what I mean? Because people now think that, hey, well, it's cool to watch anime now. It's cool to, you know, because everybody, their mama loves anime. People love BTS. Like, people love Korean pop, you know, K-pop. And I'm like, well, where were y'all when it first? I'm just saying, like, I know.
That's Christina's territory.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, during that time, like, you know, I had an artist named Shayla on our show, and I didn't know that they had MTV Korea, and they do music. And it's like, but we're so arrogant and ignorant around here that we don't accept other people and other cultures. But that's becoming popular now, and like even with Lee, like I said, we're doing this on Pride Month, and it's Pride Month, and they have Pride parades, and it's just like, it's so cool to go to a pride parade because there's no hate, there's no, you know, you got people still drunk, but it's like, you know, it's still like a celebration that people are embracing. So, and I'll share one last story that really, because honestly, if you listen to this episode, like being called fat does not bother me at all. Does not bother me at all. And Brandon, you and I think Lee may know the story too, but Brandon, you know the story. Somebody that are doing news because you know I really want to be uh, just maybe one day going to ESPN or whatever, but I really want to make it to my peak, but I want to do it my way. And a lot of people in news will tell you can't do it. You have to be the suit and tie. You can't have the slang. You can't talk a certain way. You have to lose weight. Trust me, I've had plenty of people tell me, well, you can't be on air because you're fat. And that really messed with me all my years in news. And there was a one particular anchor reporter that I worked really well with. I really was inspired by this person. And you know, I had enough. You know, me and Brandon working hard at the news station, going above and beyond, showing who we are, what we can do, and just kept getting overlooked. And so at that point, I said, "Hey, it's not for me." So going away and telling, "Hey, this person gave me some last word of encouragement," somebody who I really respected in the business. Uh, the whole time, I thought this person was really giving me advice. The only the person saw in me was that I was fat. and that was her last piece of advice to me, or that person's last piece of advice to me, was to lose weight to be in this business. And that hurt a lot because I really respected this person. I say that because it really affected me. But the thing Lee said is that you don't give these people power over you. And going back to what Brandon said, you know, it took friends to really get my head straight about who I am as a person. This podcast would not be possible without Brandon and Lee. Because I said, hey, look, you know, I really want to do something with my voice and with my interviewing skills. I don't know what to do. I'm not getting these news jobs that I want. I'm not taking this kind of crappy position. I know I'm better than that. And Brandon said, hey, take this, do your own thing. And Straight Up is heard in like over 41 countries. We're on WBOB and growing right now. Lee and I just signed a contract with somebody else. And if I would let that stop me, we wouldn't be here talking to you right now. And like Brandon said, man, like these two and Christina too, y'all are my friends, and I really respect y'all. But if you're listening, surround yourself by people who really will support you, not just enable you, not to enable you, but to support you and trying to say, hey, you know what? You might be fat, you might have jelly rolls, but hey, your jelly rolls look sexy and I still accept you for you. Or you may be gay, but I still accept you for you. And like, it is funny, but it's like, be around people who lift you up, because the ones that bring you down, man, I'm telling you, like Christina said, you see them years from now and they're miserable. And the person that gave me that advice is no longer in the business right now. And it goes to show you, hey, her words didn't mean anything to me. And it shouldn't have. So, like, and we leave with this, like Lee said, don't give people the power. Like, you are your own person. Whether you're black, white, fat, skinny, nerdy, gothic, love yourself, man. Because you will have 10 million people that love you, and you will have 10 million that hate you. But out of that 20 million, you gotta love yourself. All right? So we want y'all to join the conversation. That's it for our show. Like we told y'all can go to our website every day. We got some new merch about being vaccinated. We actually have an exclusive hate mail t-shirt. It's all available at our website at straightupshowpodcast.com. That's STR8 showpodcast.com. Don't forget, every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can hear us on WBOB Radio. It's WBOBradio.live every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, we only have one rule on our show, and that is you got to be
Straight up.
Straight up.
Damn, y'all sleep.